An arrest has now been made in the ongoing investigation into a Paoli shooting. We bring you an update. Plus, the city of Jasper has now heard back from NDOT concerning issues with US 231, and host Bill Potter brings us another episode of Inform. All of that and much more is up next here on the 18 WJTS News. Hello, I'm Bradford Raths. The investigation into a shooting in Paoli now rolls on. Indiana State Police have arrested a second man they believe was involved in the Monday shooting, and they've identified a potential third suspect as well. Just before 10 o'clock last night, State Police took 48-year-old Elbert Edward Brooks of New Albany into custody on murder charges stemming from Monday's shooting. 56-year-old Nicholas Fields and 25-year-old Corey Michael Harris, both of Paoli, died from injuries they sustained in the shooting. 29-year-old Daniel Smithson, also of Paoli, remains in stable condition at University of Louisville Hospital with a gunshot wound in the mouth. State Police say tips and leads they've gathered since Monday afternoon led them to Brooks' apartment in the 200 block of South Main Street over in Marengo. Brooks was taken into custody without incident. As mentioned, investigators are now pursuing a third suspect in this case. State Police are looking for 36-year-old James Davidson of Marengo for his involvement in the shooting. State Police say Davidson was last seen in the Marengo area yesterday evening. As we first reported yesterday, State Police are also searching for 35-year-old John Robert Carpenter in connection with the case. Police obtained a warrant for Carpenter's arrest yesterday, and they believe he was the gunman in this shooting. Police say Carpenter was last seen driving a red and gray 1991 Dodge Ram 150 single cab two-wheel drive pickup truck. The truck has an Indiana license plate with the registration TK913LGC. Now, Indiana State Police are warning folks that both Carpenter and Davidson are considered to be armed and dangerous. If you see either one of them, do not approach them. Police ask instead that you call the Jasper State Police Post at 482-1441 or dial 911 immediately to tell dispatchers where you saw them. A Johnson County woman was arrested at the DuBois County Fairgrounds yesterday in connection with thefts in both DuBois and Martin counties. Jasper police say they opened an investigation on Monday when they were summoned to the Southside Holiday Liquors store around 12:30 p.m., where a phone had been reported stolen out of a vehicle. A witness told police that when the witness and victim approached the suspect, she was found inside of a Dodge Durango behind the store. Police later determined that the suspect, 33-year-old Melissa Solomon of Greenwood, did not have permission to be in the SUV. Police say Solomon allegedly got out of the SUV and got into a minivan in the nearby McDonald's parking lot. Solomon reportedly was changing clothes inside of the vehicle as a man, later identified as Solomon's boyfriend, drove away in the van. Based on a license plate number that was found, police located Solomon and the man yesterday at the county fairgrounds where the two had been camping. The man, 41-year-old Kenneth Scott Gowker of Greenwood, was wanted on arrest warrants in Johnson County, and he was taken into custody. Meanwhile, after obtaining a search warrant, police searched Solomon's tent and found a woman's wallet, a pill bottle, $20 in cash, and sunglasses that didn't belong to her. Police later found that those items had been taken at 10:30 on Sunday evening from the Lagodi Dairy Queen. Solomon admitted to possessing the pills, money, and wallet when she was questioned by police. She was taken into custody and lodged in the DuBois County Security Center. Solomon faces Class D felonies for theft and possession of stolen property. Police say the stolen phone has not been recovered at this point. The DuBois County Sheriff's Department and the DuBois County Prosecutor's Office assisted with this investigation. Once again, German American Bank has received reports their name is being used in a recent text or phone call scam. Company officials strongly urge those receiving these calls or messages not to reply. The company says those sending the messages are only using the company name and they have not accessed any secure information. They ask everyone to share the information with family and friends in order for everyone to be informed and to not respond to these type of scam calls. Turning to other headlines, the Indiana Department of Transportation has now responded to a letter from the city of Jasper concerning the condition of US 231, and their response has some city leaders upset. The Jasper City Council originally sent NDOT a letter back in late April. That letter was signed by all 7 members of the council and asked for the agency to make major improvements to a stretch of US 231 through the city that has deteriorated significantly due to heavy travel. Jasper City Councilman Tom Schmidt says NDOT's response letter was received earlier this week. NDOT's response to the city of Jasper says the road was repaved just last year, but for many motorists who continue to drive this stretch of 231, not a whole lot has really changed. Schmidt says the response is very disappointing. He says it offers little in the way of solutions.
What they sent back really doesn't mean anything as far as a response to what we're asking, because the road, it doesn't take a common sense to go drive through there and see that the roads are really in that need repair. And I don't know what their problem is or why they're holding back on us.
Schmidt says he's not sure what NDOT is referencing as far as the 2013 repave of US 231. Street Commissioner Ramey Eckerly has previously stated that NDOT did do some work along the road last year, but it's currently showing signs of breaking down. Schmidt says at this point he's not sure what else can be done.
I'm tired of bringing things up and nothing happens. It just goes on and on and on, and everything just goes by the wayside. So, I'm sure we'll talk about it, but I don't know whether we'll get any results or not. I hope we do, but if we don't, I guess we just keep going.
Schmidt says he wants NDOT to mill off and repave the road. He also says the curbs along the road need to be fixed. Schmidt says another issue has been that the state owns the stretch of road, thus the city can't do anything about the road's condition. NDOT officials could not be reached for comment on this issue. A proposed water quality study for the town of Ferdinand is now moving forward. Last night, the Ferdinand Town Council approved a bid from Commonwealth Engineers to study the level of phosphorus in the water that goes through the city's wastewater plant. The cost of the study will not exceed $37,000. Ferdinand Town Manager Chris James says there were 3 bids submitted for this study. He says though all 3 came from good companies, Commonwealth's bid was the one that stood out.
And they also have familiarity as they're the company that actually designed the current wastewater facility, so they had a little bit more of an inside knowledge of how the plant functions and operates, and it won't be quite the test case scenario getting our plant onto the phosphorus plan as it would have been with the other 2 firms.
Now, this project became necessary in light of government regulations on phosphorus levels in wastewater plants. The deadline for a preliminary report has been set for November 15th. The town will then have to submit the report to the Indiana Department of Environmental Management on December 1st. Also last night, the council approved hiring a new officer for the Ferdinand Police Department. 28-year-old Caleb Lindeman was set to be sworn in this afternoon at Ferdinand Town Hall. Lindeman graduated from Jasper High School back in 2005. He's been with the department as a reserve officer since 2012. Lindeman is set to start work tomorrow afternoon. Jasper's Memorial Hospital and Healthcare Center is now offering Lifeline. Lifeline is a medical alert assistance service for folks who wish to live independently in their homes while maintaining an immediate link to the Lifeline System's call center. The call center features trained personnel who can talk to the resident immediately and activate their emergency response plan if needed. Now, with Lifeline, the resident has a communicator unit attached to the telephone and a portable button that can be worn around their neck, on the wrist, or attached to a pocket or piece of clothing. The portable button can be pushed if assistance is needed. The button then sends an electronic message via telephone to the Lifeline call center. Lifeline also offers an auto alert feature. That feature automatically places a call for help if a fall is detected and the person cannot press his or her personal help button because they are disoriented, immobilized, or unconscious after a fall. Lifeline has a one-time installation fee of $50 and costs $39 a month after installation. The auto alert personal help button can be added for an additional $13 a month. For more information about these services or to subscribe, you can call Memorial Hospital's Lifeline coordinator Susan Oding at 996-2399. Same-sex marriages in Indiana are off to a quick start after the judge threw out the state's ban, but they could come to a halt if that same judge grants a request to stay his order while the Attorney General appeals. The state requested the stay yesterday afternoon as hundreds of couples lined up across the state to obtain marriage licenses and exchange their vows. The state argues it's premature to require Indiana to change its definition of marriage while it appeals Judge Richard Young's ruling. Here locally, DuBois County will be issuing same-sex marriage licenses for the time being. DuBois County Clerk Bridget Jarboe says yesterday was a very chaotic day as the county awaited orders from the state. Jarboe says the state is driving the entire process.
We do pay attention, however, we have to have a notice sent to us, a direct notice. We can't use, even though I can watch him handing it to someone on the media, I cannot use that as my order.
Meanwhile, Daviess County denied requests for licenses yesterday. The Martin and Pike County Clerk's offices will be offering same-sex marriage licenses if applicants ask for them. Now, legal experts on both sides of the debate expect the U.S. Supreme Court to ultimately decide the issue for Indiana and other states where bans have been overturned. Last year, the High Court struck down the Federal Defense of Marriage Act. Finally this evening, yesterday afternoon marked the end of a 2-day driver skills training course for City of Jasper employees. Fire trucks were among the last vehicles to take the course yesterday as part of the city's Emergency Vehicle Operations course. This year's course was held at Jasper Middle School. The fire truck portion of the training ran throughout the afternoon yesterday, starting at 1 o'clock. The trucks navigated the same course as the dump trucks, electric trucks, and city transportation buses ran earlier in the day. That course included an alley that drivers had to back into and a street that narrowed down from over 9 feet to just over 8 feet by its end. Mark Ennis led the 2-day course on behalf of city insurance provider Bliss McKnight. He says the fire truck training is important due to dangers that other city vehicles don't normally face when out on the road.
Fire departments are very important because they're driving a large apparatus on emergency runs, and they're exposed a lot more to potential accidents and bodily injury and death than your normal everyday drivers because of the fact that they're crossing intersections on red lights and a lot of those types of situations.
Now, the yearly course is designed as a driver training program. It provides city drivers with the skills necessary to drive their vehicles under the most demanding of conditions. The course began with a classroom component and hands-on driver training followed. The hands-on training is focused on controlled braking, parking, and crash avoidance techniques, among others. All right, coming up after the break, your local forecast, sports with Kurt Gooksell, and Inform. That's all up next here on the 18 WJTS News. Local people watching local people.